Cool. So welcome to Austin LangChain AI Middleware Users Group. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Thursdays today. Off here. So today's agenda, we're going to have some intros, tell you a little bit about what we do, who we are. Who's new to Austin LangChain AI Middleware User Group? About half. Cool. Well, welcome to a jolly group of nerds. We're pretty fun people. We're going to give you our intros. We're going to give an update on LangChain, LangGraph, the projects we follow here and the companies that we work with. We're going to open up one lightning talk scheduled. I'm going to give a talk about some ATA experiments. Is there anyone who wants to come up for a 10-minute lightning talk? What? I can't hear you.
What is that?
So lightning talks are a space where you wouldn't give a 7 to 10 minute talk, and you try to make sure this use LangChain, LangGraph is like a thread to pull it together. So if you can kind of through that connection, yeah. You interested? Okay. Oh, cool, man. Then we're going to go from from the lightning talk, which is I made some experience with agent to agent protocol. There's some labs in there too. Actually, you know what? I'm going to need my laptop up here. So can you switch over to the podium? I realize I got to type into something. Yeah, I should be prepared before you all here, but we're just going to go ahead and look at that magic. Awesome. Thanks, sir. Okay. Well, I put my glasses on so I can see stuff. Cool. So we're going to switch over from a 10-minute lightning talk about some experiments with agent-to-agent protocol and different ways that you can incorporate and expand interfaces from web properties or websites or catalogs, whatever, so that the Perplexity, ChatGPT, others, and LangChain agents can understand them better natively. Take it over to Nate, who's going to give us a little walkthrough on his Claude AI development workflows. People ask, why is that relevant to LangChain? We use, a lot of us use Claude, Cursor, Codex, whatever, for generating agent graphs, right? So as you know, as you might have noticed, things have moved forward from writing Python to some people went through like a WYSIWYG section of their life. So now we're just talking to our AI code programmers and writing AI slop or something with some really cool stuff. After that, we're going to wrap things up, and we have an after party at the Victory. No, what is the name of the tavern? Thank you. That's a bit of ripping. I've been to 5 countries in the last 2 weeks. I just landed back in America less than 24 hours ago. I have no idea who I am, where I am, what I am. This is the Java meetup, yeah? Okay. So after that, we're going to go down the tavern. It has great air conditioning. And first air conditioning in Austin. We're going to grab some beers, some non-alcoholic, whatever. You want some food. Wow, I didn't update. Oh, no, I did update. Cool. We're going to have soda, ice cold sodas with pieces back there. Please eat it. So for those that are new and we try to treat this not as a class or a course per se, but we do try to organize our thoughts and organize our notes. If you go to aimug.org and go click on Learn, you'll see the notes as we've been going since October 2022, maybe? October 2023. Anyway, I put up some placeholder resources up there. Nate, if you can a PR on either through the transcript of your stuff, or if you want to update some of the pages up there after something, yeah, that'd be cool. You can go to the QR code there. That's going the wrong way. I do want to thank our founding members. So we are, we're like PBS, we're member supported and corporate underwritten. We have 25 founding members that basically help us buy our pizza, but really help us stay independent. So I want to give special thanks to them. I love them to death. And then call it a corporate underwriters. So we were sitting here in the Center for Government and Civil Services. Civic Service, excuse me, I screw up all the time. We are really lucky to have a partnership from them. They're attached to Austin Community College, which serves 58,000 students here in Austin, Central Texas, as well as a lot of UT students because they ran us space. I want to thank LangChain AI, who's sponsored us for the last almost 2 years now. We're really grateful for their support, both their financial support, but also support in taking feature requests and guidance for us in the community and bring really good features back to us. Really cool stuff. I want to thank Always Cool Brands and Always Cool AI. Let's go now. We're cool. but for again supporting us financially and time and effort, as well as Toolhouse, which is another local awesome company that supports us. So we're really lucky to be able to take direction from people like you, people like us. Use LangChain as a thread, and LangGraph as a thread, just how you can together, really just learning to open together. So I'm Colin McNamara. Hi, I'm a local entrepreneur. I'm a co-founder of All School Brands. I spend my day using AI to take poison out of the food supply. Over the next 2 quarters, you're going to see 19 of our products show up in Sprouts, show up in Kroger. Actually, the first one just showed up in Kroger 2 weeks ago. Basically what we do is we take a product, this is actually a good product, that is full of dyes and stabilizers, give you cancer, make your kids stupid, and we formulate it. And with clean label, no dyes, no additives, no stabilizers, they're really good. So I use LangChain and LangGraph in our applications. So I have 8 different LangChain and LangGraph based applications that we use for food safety, for supply chain work. I'm just a user, so I don't work for the LangChain AI. I got nothing to sell you. If you want, go to Sprouts, buy some stuff. Let me see, I'm a community builder. So I started off some LangChain a couple of years ago. I used to call myself a 10% dev, right? Not a 10x dev. I've now progressed to a 50% dev, thanks to every single one of you in the community, helping me out, teaching me all the tips and tricks. I'm actually kind of reasonable, I won't lie. So, and my hope is that all of you that are new to our group, that you can kind of join in that uplift. It's really good. We have a really good flywheel going on. So who we are, we have over 1,400 members in Meetup now, which I'm really, really proud of. Usually we'll do, I don't know, this is what we normally happen on Wednesdays, but I've been traveling a lot, so we had to change some things. So 1,400 members, we're 100% about learning in the open. So what you'll see here is, it might be just hacking on code right now. I don't know. What you'll see here is members that be working on something new, but a new feature will come out. There's something that released the day before. People hack on code and then demo, showcase, talk about in real time. Stuff breaks. It's not perfect. No one's here to sell you anything. But we learned together in the open. And actually coming back from, I just got back from my last stop on my world tour was an investment banking conference up in Deer Valley in Park City, Utah. And one of my key takeaways and feedback from the other technical experts that were with me advising the bankers was that what we're doing in this group is we're actually kind of light speed ahead of what most of the people are in the industry. So we're really, really fortunate to have our members supporting each other, sharing what we're doing, so we can really implement those quality patterns, both for our own companies, our employers, our personal projects, or whatever. We are extraordinarily well supported community. We have a Discord that, as Kareem likes to say, is busy enough to be interesting, but not so busy to be annoying. So please go to aimug.org and say, join the community and log on. Really, really handy. So in our community, where we learn in the open, we only have 2 rules. Very, very simple. Be cool, right? Be cool to each other. Someone's up presenting, like, don't nerd snipe, right? We're kind of like kindergartners when we learn something new. Be nice, right? And don't be gross. We know what that means. We meet here monthly, usually on the first Wednesday. And then we meet usually 2 weeks later out on town for like a hacky hour. Where our laptops out, we can hack on code. Sometimes you don't want a laptop, you can chill and enjoy a beverage, a coffee, whatever. Our next one, August 27th at Cosmic on the east side. So they're nice, easy. And then we also have a virtual sync on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Central. Yeah, sounds about right. Those are office hours. So feel free to hop on. I like it. It's really helping me out. So who is new completely to LangChain? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, cool. So out of the ones that are new to LangChain, have you made any AI applications before? Raise your hand. Okay, cool. So a lot of us started writing AI applications as like Next.js wrappers directly to OpenAI. Right. And then we're in the problem. Like, okay, well, I don't have visibility into my workflows, or I need to have some sort of key management. I need to implement memory. I need to scale. I need to implement a multi-agent graph. And so what we end up with is, write something quick and easy, following the tutorials. And I'm like, oh, wait, well, I need to do something a little bigger, right? And so what LangChain is, and really when we say LangChain and LangGraph, right? So most of the work that I do nowadays is actually focused on LangGraph. It was like CreAI or others where you can basically organize a group of agents together and they can talk together in an organized fashion. Think of it like a run book or a process execution matrix, right? LangChain is consumed by LangGraph, and you can basically build an AI agent in 3 lines, right? LangGraph allows you to have state management, allows you to like an externalized state in an external database, like a PostgreSQL database. I go around LangGraph behind Fast API, so I can build an AI microservice. Maybe I containerize it, put it into Kubernetes or on Docker. These 2 are completely open source, free and easy to use, both available in Python and TypeScript. I started using them in Python and actually find I'm using more and more TypeScript for LangGraph TypeScript in my applications. There's an open source integration layer where basically anyone and everyone who had an open source AI implementation would dump an integration here. And before MCP, before Model Context Protocol, we had that. This is a lot of ways that we would get integrations into different tool chains. There's also 2 commercial sides of it. If you want to do like VMware for AI, you can use the LangGraph platform, which allows you to externalize your state management, your memory management, stuff like that. And then LangSmith is a monitoring platform. So if you want to, this is actually the person that gave me visibility onto our web applications, always called brands. When I moved to LangGraph TypeScript, I turned on LangSmith in those applications. What that allowed me to do is see the progression of what's happening in my agents and my graphs. These have like a freemium entry into this. If you want to go full open source, there's also things like OS Phoenix, LangFuse. There's a middle one that came out, Pydantic, I just saw recently. But I really like LangSmith, and I use it mainly, well, for one reason is I use the open source stuff, and it's always good to throw some coin towards a project that supports you. On the note of that project, we'll give you a little update on the ecosystem, what's going on with LangChain and LangGraph. Did anyone see the Deep Agents releases? No, this is really, really exciting. Has anyone played with Claude? Half the room, 2/3 room. Has anyone dealt with Claude subagents? Yeah. So that same Claude subagents pattern, where if you have your main agent, your not Claude desktop, but your Claude Code, you basically spawn off an agent that might be your Q agent, it might be your doc agent, it might be your linting agent. Each of those agents has access to its own context, its oon memory, you might say. Each of those agents can have access to their own set of tools. It's like a graph within a graph. So maybe like a week ago, Harrison's like basically this machine learning engineer that worked for Ilya. Everyone knows who Ilya is for OpenAI, right? So he's a machine learning engineer that used to work for Ilya. Who I just learned this week, Ilya was Jeff Hinton. Jeff Hinton used to call him part of AI. He used to call him his sysadmin. Ilya based in Toronto. Anyways, Harrison open source Deep Agents, which is basically you can create the Claude Code based subagent development style and deep research style just using a simple Python libraries. So in the past, we've seen a lot of deep research agents that came out that you could basically load up as a Docker container, load up as a subgraph, and they'll go and do deep research like O3. Well, now you can basically replicate that within LangGraph and LangChain. It actually is 90% LangGraph inside of it. What it does is actually basically creates these little text files to save state and memory. Really, really cool. Just today, they announced on LangGraph LangChain Academy, there's a course on it. I would ask all of you to please take that and come back the next month so I can learn something from you about it. I'll probably take it too. But it was really, really cool. There's planning, there's sub-agents, there's system prompts, and there's a GUI that just popped up. So if you want to have like a web interface, right, like the next level chat agent, because chat agents are boring now, just like RAG is boring now, we can do a new cool thing to be different than everyone else. LangGraph V6 came out. A lot to do with making things more durable, right? So durability modes, right? So fine-grained control your checkpointing. This is another thing that happens. So say you're running your agents in up on, I don't know, Cloud Run or whatever, and you want to save state. You can push state down into PostgreSQL interface. We're really tight about that. Some more safety stuff, and then working on the API. LangGraph is on its way to a 1.0 release, so there's a lot of things that are going to tighten it up. Hopefully, we'll have non-breaking changes back then. Other things that came out. Did anyone see the open software engineering agent that LangChain released? this actually came out of, I think 6 or 7 of us went to San Francisco for LangChain Interrupt, the conference, and had some time with Harrison. And a lot of us here have been doing agentic development. We were doing a lot with Clone, another tool, and a bunch of other tools, right? And part of the conversation that came up in the group was like, okay, when a new version of software comes out, well, what are the tools for getting access to that documentation? A lot of us use Contact 7, might use MCP doc, might do like, I don't know, free create a PID in O3 and dump that in with the specific libraries, right? They're always dirty little tricks. And so one of the things that came out of the group was like really cool if there was a version of AI agent for that was tied to the software development version of like LangChain or LangGraph. So Harrison listened. I appreciate his giant nerddom, and he came out with open software engineer. Right, and what this allows you to do is basically an async offline software engineer that you can mount as an MCP, and you can go have it code on autonomous on its own. This is where they're going to release the ability to develop LangChain and LangGraph agent graphs. Yeah,
but that's a general purpose coding agent, kind of like the cursor one. Is that the idea?
Yeah, that's the idea. General purpose, but this is where they're going to launch the specialized. The goal is I get a new version of LangChain and LangGraph. I should be able to just call my development agent should be able to call it specifically via an MCP or whatnot, and then get the proper code back with the proper code written the right way for the specific versions I'm using. Yeah, people ask me like, oh man, like, why are you doing the insert cool thing here? One, I always try to do the cool thing here because I'm a nerd. But why do I start LangChain and LangGraph? Because of stuff like this, because Harrison listens, right? And the team listens, which is pretty cool. Other updates on the LangSmith side. There's actually a screenshot from LangSmith that I took this morning while I was writing. I built a it's actually in our repo if you want to check it out. I built a LangGraph test harness that will go and interrogate my blog, which I built an agent-to-agent interface on, so it speaks natively. So if you haven't, if you want to debug your AI applications, I highly just take a look at LangSmith. It's really handy. Okay, so I was just using it. So other things that are coming out, or that came out. So aligning evals. Is anyone doing evals for their agents yet? 1, 2. Okay. So like the levels of maturity, right? We get to the point where we're like, okay, we got a chat up, we got a RAG up, we have logging so we can see what these crazy things are doing. Well, eventually we need to improve our prompts. We need to be able to cost optimize for the models, right? And so how are you going to do that without measuring? Right? You can't just look at it, especially now, like in the past, we've seen like 4.0, we will see the output coming back from the console, right? We were synchronous, we can inspect it. But from me, in my experience, when things are async, when I went to 3, right? When it was going to be 5 to 30 minutes before I got a response back, well, how the heck am I'm not going to evaluate it. So you have to log it, right? And you have to log it to something. LangSmith is a great one. And evals are what allow you to do. It's the term is like evals or LLM as a judge. You can actually write an agent. You can write your agentic code to go ahead and look at the responses, the input and output responses, and give it a score. And you can also put a queue inside of there. And again, this is a pattern that works with any tool you use, right? You can also put a queue in there so that maybe in the applications you write, there's a little thumbs up, thumbs down. This sucked. This is good. Comment, right? No one will ever comment it, but eventually do. You can use that to train. You can use that to improve your agent configurations. You can use that to put fine tunes in, or maybe go to a lower cost model. You can actually validate. I did that for my, I just set a LangGraph Python script that takes my meeting notes and combines them with my transcripts. And I was like using Sonnet 4 forever, and I went through evals on it. I actually got it down to using local llama, so my data doesn't go out, 3.18 billion parameters, right? So evals are great. LangGraph is great, and some other stuff that does. One is exports, right? So you can export stuff on a schedule. It's a fast-moving project and fast-moving stuff. Let me see. Other things that are coming out. So if you're in San Francisco in person on the 19th, there's an in-person workshop, Deep Research with LangGraph. This is basically the agents that I showed, right? Next. Other things that happened. Harrison and team are going for another funding round. They just got $1 billion valuation. Yeah, so I'll repeat, they got $1 billion valuation. Thank you. Thank you. There's this literally this machine learning nerd. Like Harrison's a nerd, right? He's a nerd, big nerd. Like I respect that. Like nerds, we recognize each other. And he literally put out, he saw that all of us were writing code directly with open API. I was like, oh crap, we need to migrate between LM providers. We need to create chains together. And he just released some Python libraries. And for that, it's got $1 billion valuation on this company. Funded by Sequoia, pretty cool. Let me see. There's been a whole bunch of reliability enhancements. It's really going towards 1.0. So this is a really good sign for those of us that use it in production. Other than that, there's been one outage on LangSmith, and they resolved it. And like I used to run had 4 services at OCI. So yeah, I would be disappointed in them if they were doing bad, but they're doing pretty good. This is I got put all this online. This will be in our docs or notes. We'll have all the links to all that stuff on there. There might actually be some good links on it right now if you want to check. Okay, lightning talks. I'll ask you, does anyone have a lightning talk? So you can go first. So there's a break between call and talking. No? Okay. Cool. So A2A in the lab. Here's what A2A is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So Google, who knows what Google is? Does everyone agree Google has like a foundational piece of the internet that it holds? Yeah. Okay. So Google does something like, I don't know, Google tried to get into cloud. Kubernetes came out. You know what Kubernetes is? The open source did. There was a project called OpenStack everyone was using. Who knows what OpenStack is? 5 people. Okay. That's the point I'm making, right? So Google released the agent-to-agent protocol, which allows us to connect from agent graphs and LangGraph per se, maybe to small, or connect my agents can talk to your agents over the internet without like a tied up connection, right? So I decided that I wanted to learn a little bit about this, and I did a little experiment. So this is probably a little learning in the open. My experiment's not finished yet, but I have some results to share you. So let's go to A2A in the wild. So why does agent to agent matter, should I say? And what I did is I enabled agent to agent protocol on my blog, colinmcnamara.com. You go to colinmcnamara.com, there's 1 L and there's MC, not MAC. You'll actually see that you can go from your browser to there. But if you have an agent, per se, you can also point your agent at it. And there's example code. If you go to aimag.org, go into labs, go to August, or 2025, August, and there's a notebook in there as well as some, there should be some Python code for a LangGraph agent. So to steal the thunder of it, I enabled agent-to-agent protocol on my blog, and within 24 hours, I was getting referrals from ChatGPT, for Perplexity, and from Microsoft CDN. So what did I do, right? So my thesis on this was that HTML is machine readable, but how many people have done like a whole bunch of hacks to suck down other people's websites, to parse other people's websites? Exactly. Tavily, we play on prepaid money. We have all these games we play to parse HTML. Well, what would happen if we told the agentic search agents what we had, how we could get to it, what our content licensing strategy is, and we exposed we exposed it in JSON to them. That was my experiment. So what is A2A? There's basically, it's way too small. I did a really bad job. So A2A is a lightweight JSON RPC standard, right? You create a well-known, you create an agent.json. Now, if you actually just go to my blog, right, you can go look at the file right now on your laptop, right? And then you expose what are called service endpoints. So expose a couple of services. Like I know a search service, I don't have to pay for Algolia again, right? I expose I get post service. I expose like 3 other services that I probably don't know about right now. So how did I implement it on Astro? So I just moved to my blog to Astro from, not Jekyll, something else, the text-based blog. Where is Collier? Thanks, Collier. I think I got the what's called the hint from Collier to check it out. So I just moved from Astro to TypeScript. So I added the well-known JSON. I added agents.json to my .well-known. I put capabilities in there, put some rate limits, and established 5 endpoints. Right. I built using I built an API service inside of there, API A2A, with JSON RPC with validation and core shaping. Now, how did I do this? I always say I'm a 10% developer. I'm not the smart kid in the room. Right? I'm just a marine eating crayons and stuff, but I'm diligent. I keep working at it. O3, right? I did some deep research. I pointed it at Linux Foundation documentation, because now A2A is up to the Linux Foundation. It's a true internet standard. I pointed it at the agentation website and asked, and I told her, like, hey, yo, I got this Astro TypeScript blog. I want to go ahead and develop a PRD for implementing A2A on my website, right? And I use Claude Code to do it, right? So I implemented those with Astro's content collections, and then I had e-tags, which are turned off right now because some caching issues and rate limiting and security headers. I put some examples. Actually, there's a post on my blog. I need to distill out actually, I'm not sure if I want to distill out like an easy, everyone can do it, or I want to see what everyone does the same pattern I did and comes back, right? Because I'm pretty sure it's AI generated slop. But at a glance, the discovery pattern is discovery to gateway to scale router to cache to my content.
Is it kind of like robots text where you're just describing what you would kind of enforce, but technically the rate limit could be broken by the
I think I actually implemented them in TypeScript.
Okay.
Yeah, and I validated them. Here's my robots.txt that I copied out this morning. And we'll find it this afternoon. So I did a couple of things. My hypothesis was that if I was clear to the agents, to the search agents, what my licensing was, right? So CCB4 attribution. So all bots are welcome with attribution. I said exactly, you can go to my A2A API, you can go to my well-known JSON, and you can go to my feed.json, right? I specifically called out ChatGPT, let's call it Cursor, Anthropic, and Claude. I said you can do everything, so slow it down a little bit. I put it at my sitemap.xml, so we're in my sitemap. And we'll actually go and to join this. So
It's called the slash tables. That is the standard.
that is the standard, yeah. Everyone agent.json. Well, so for testing, I've got a test harness in LangGraph. Testing is a case search. So if you go to outfit on the front end, it shows I have like 7,000 over the life. This is from Google Analytics, which is I trust that that's actual users. And the thing is, here's the problem. I put it on 27 here. After I do that, I say some of these from ChatGPT, Perplexity, Computing, XS7. And that is, on top of that, I saw it going to in my journal. It's like 29, 57, it's like super something high. I actually stopped and do it. It's like we went live 15 years ago. Right? So people are trusting ChatGPT, they're trusting Perplexity. Everyone, click on the links and things, see what it looks like to show where it comes. Right? So something.
I was just going to say, we kind of discussed this for the past couple of days, and so forth. There was a company that just raised called Profound. It's 30 million from Sequoia, guaranteeing this. And the question was, how were they possibly validating it? Is it like you have to wait for a new model to come out for some, for some end date? And you just proven that's not the case at all. I think it's amazing. I think we should. This is huge.
Oh, awesome. By the way, that's what I'm not there. And stuff like that. I'm also concerned for it's very consulting, like the safety too. But this is wrong. So if all of us have that, like business, a blog, something, 1, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. We're going to talk to them. We'll see what else also. So just like the sound fires actually. So script. I'm show you this for so that LangGraph over set to this is where the website. So I think that's right. Those are checks to once I just release it right over there. This search list right? So there's some caching area that agents, when they talk to HR, have access to. I don't know. Someone should be the return posts that have AI in the name, right? Search codes. So we have the query back here. So things showing this is what is turning the 7 points in the cache. It's like I'm putting the 7 points in there. I'm not quite to it. There's a trace back here. So there's some of them. It's because what is I don't like that back to the similar one we expect. That's right. Supervisor agent to try to takes 2 of this. There's kind of route supervisor, which tells it notes in blocks. This is an example of like LangGraph. It's like something that's like this is specific personalities and the fonts. I just stuff in the node. So that the route supervisor. Okay, states are implementation comprehensible. And it's a test. There's my tools here to do. We can see that run the test this blog post. If it's not there, This is actually really cool. So, something like, for example, like something like class, mass with this information. And we'll see, went through all the different types and some of the and then like actually not goes back to a supervisor, and then it passes that to an analyzer, which then goes to chat GPT,
The list of posts that's on that like segment further down from the tools. What are you doing about all your posts?
Oh yeah, okay. This one right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So I'm just curious, is the idea rather than like a RSS or something where you're basically just putting all your static content and you're serving that. Right. It's essentially kind of like an MCP server where you've listed out the tools, and in your case, you want those tools to be almost like CMS type level tools where you give it, in this case, the list posts, and then you're kind of trusting that the agents or whoever's calling, whichever professor or others, that they're calling those tools themselves and they're doing. Is that kind of the
That's actually really how subjects like trust, right? Well, the awesome thing, so one of the things, some stuff that is in progress, right? So what do I have to do next? Actually see the draw, they don't really take them draw. So it's supposed to wait till then so they come back to so look at the usage. And all this properties, the draw, stuff. The product placement of the text in ChatGPT earlier than others. This is maybe really what they talk about. I don't know.
what the difference is then? I guess from looking at the CP server versus HA. I mean,
CP is not a foundation standard. It's basically sometimes becoming tools that I learned, right? So it's basically explaining services that so it's not technically or implicit.
I guess the very LangGraph, we have three. The one city, we have agents which is by LangGraph, and then the able so agents can work, they can utilize which other developers. And able is what you explain your needs.
okay. So you wouldn't be using this, for example, so I have a coffee shop, and you can magically use you can connect your
that would still use MCP. I'm sorry, let's go in. So the question is, if we're having a coffee shop and it's online, and we want to start with a coffee, we still have an MCP server working too, but to expose that, you know what I'm saying?
It's because the machine is the MCP, the barista is the agent, and your coffee shop is the agent.
Okay, so it's like a directory service. Okay, that makes total sense. So, oh, yeah, that works. Cool. So I really want that to do that, right? There's I don't know destination tree. You guys should know that. So I can like actually do this. This is really good. So that's what I'm looking at. This works. This works too. We'll try it yourself. Right? Like, this one, I don't happen to share all of them, like, just share it below and share it working. But I'm excited about this. This class, final analysis, right? We got a nice little analysis. Couple issues, about 80%, got about plus. So not so bad. Those kind of implementations are better. Let's see. So this next, I just got back home like less than 24 hours ago. I finished out Intel implementation. I get it pulled back. I figure out probably sort of service catalog. It sounds like, I don't know, what's your fireplace, you know? Just a set of places. I don't know, Excel. For all those programs, that each product that goes live, like it's like, not all brands, they're like Express, but you probably like it so that's all I do. But the point is, for conversation, I think this is what I each and every one of us, if the limits is power of testing, right? Someone got 30 minutes. Yeah. Right? And I was just going around going my blog. I'm awesome. But I'm the same so that's all I got from the I think. So, sure, referrals, referral stats in the Discord, right? I just want to all of it. So, I know chess. Turn on. We'll make that. And thanks again for putting up with like my half-house code. Okay. So we there. With this one, where we're going. We got that next there. Not in here. No. And so this works. There you go. Cool. So, quick question before I get started. How many of you use some kind of agentic coding like Cursor, Claude Code, those? All right, so this is everything I'm going to talk about here. Since people are using Claude Code as an example, but it can be applied to pretty much any AI workflow. Similar to LangChain, like any kind of macro AI workflow, it's actually very accessible to what it set it up in Claude Code. Let's see here. So I'm going to be walking through. It's just how I write code. It's focused on software development, but again, it's more broadly applicable. For the last couple of months, I switched from Cursor to Claude Code as my primary, so I numbered 95% of the time, and then pop in the Cursor when I want to do something more just neighborhood or specifically targeted. Snapshot kind of right now. It's a work in progress, and it is always changing. And this is very specific to my way of working. So what I've shifted to, like I know a lot of people like to check every change that the agent node makes as it makes it, and I like to have a lot of work all at once in a big way. So really, I try to get this philosophy behind why I'm doing this stuff, so it's broadly applicable. My personal setup for how I do issue tracking is I use Lineage for planning, like roadmap management, bug tracking. So I'll show everything I'm going to show if you use Jira, whatever else. I use a tool called Taskmaster for breaking down a feature into small tasks that the agent can then run so that I can control what's working on and how to do one small specific things that I can so it doesn't stray too far off track. And secret weapons, I think, of Claude are custom commands and subagents. So I'll use these, and I'll show examples of custom commands, but is prompt it goes to program out an entire workflow, like similar to what Kevin was showing when he was showing us these LangGraph workflows. We have multiple steps, and it calls out to tools and does all these things. We can write those in Claude Code, just target a prompt, and it works incredibly well. Like it'll follow the process, and it'll just write a prompt, but it just does it. It's remarkable. Subagents, which also similar to what I'm talking about, to do an overall process like of my app. And the sub-agents can handle very specific tasks. So they're like specialists, technical specialists that know how to do something really well. And for those who have dealt with context management and Claude Code, the really nice thing about sub-agents is they have their own context. So what that really is like, if you have a sub-agent going out and like auditing a security algorithm, doing a full audit of your base, it's using its own context and it doesn't consume all of the context of the main project system, so you can run for a lot of way before it starts going stupid. What happens is when you're running project on the context, it starts to drift. And then once it gets to compaction, like compresses all of your context, makes space for you, it gets a lot more dense because it just kind of summarizes everything in a very simple way. So like my it's just never compact. It's an example of this is like it's kind of the sound that basically just I just have step one of this, step two of this, and I just write out a process and it follows it. And then I say use the technical researcher agent to research this topic and then pass your research findings to the technical researcher agent. Right? I just write it out like that. And, you know, so to build out a big language workflow and write a bunch of Python code for, I just now come over and create a prompt. I'm doing a lot of things very well. And these small things. Like I wouldn't use this to have a production system because this is running completely on my laptop. So I use this for a lot of just local operational tasks like software development. I'll define these sub-agents. This one has a super long prompt. This is a technical writer and it describes the writing style and everything else. Anyway, I have a whole slew of these my custom commands and call and put to work and just tasks out to.
Have you the sub-agent that produce the editor to produce the content? How do you create the sub-agent with that conditional thinking?
The way I do it is I just have a sub-agent output specific message. I want you to change these things. And this command is smart enough to understand, oh, it did not approve it, therefore I should go back. Yeah. I actually like this one I actually saw stop active 3 times. Saying that because otherwise I could get it. So that's good. Yeah, it's good. That's actually one of the other nice things about sub agents is like if I have a non-custom command and I ask it to approve its own work, it should be like, yeah, fine. But as soon as I split it out, you call sub agent, you say you are now the approval of this work. It's actually going to be critical and review actual feedback. So that's like it's nice little site right there.
I didn't know that I've used a lot of like doing now, but I didn't know it's had this capability. So when I think about whatever AI that's something for something like you can do that the same thing where you're talking about creating specialists.
This idea of conditional branching is really cool. Yeah, you have a whole logic for it.
Yeah, you get different statements like, oh, you know, it's a form if I just write for text. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, go ahead.
Once, use sub-agents. How much regulation to generate? Because that's like one of the things I'm trying to still like follow code. How much should I be free to make?
So I'm pretty sure I can get into that. What you're saying, where like I first switched to Claude Code, I want to solve this, you know, scoped thing. But you want okay, that's where I started. Okay, got it. And then I was like, all right, well, let's solve this like PRD, like a product requirements document describing everything I want to do. This thing, and it's still like you know, make a lot of changes all over the place, and a lot of times I would come back and say, you know, this is not wrong. But I have to go back and change. So is that what you're getting at, or are you getting at something else? Sort of like,
like, how can I make it more completed? I want to know what other people are doing.
yeah,
Go these discussions you can have. Along the lines of coding changes, like a fully fleshed out feature.
yeah.
It's, I just use it to 300 lines. So every year, now I'm great.
Yeah, I would haven't done a massive change. I'll walk through exactly what I do, but like, grades on it here in a moment to show you what I do. But it's not like though I don't have to do that. I very much try to get it very focused on exactly what I want it to do, the change. Go ahead.
So your usage of sub agents is today, you're trying to do this. You have your tasks and you can basically spawn it off. Each one thing goes to the task.
And I only get the question. The question is, some my uses of some instance to say, so this is the task I want to do, and then I spawn off a sub agent to go do tasks. Something that's very specialized and focused, right? Like a security example, like want to use a sub agent because it's like they have a lot of very specific instructions of what to explore and what types of things to explore, or whatever. Well, I don't want to just create a massive, like if I'm in the middle of a learning process, I don't want to put like an enormous amount of having security audit on that. But if it's something like go look at these 5 files and add this, these markdown files and add font matter to them and then they can check. I just to the main command itself. It's only if I have something very specialized, or if I want to or if I want to, check the context, I'm not consuming all of my Claude Code session. This command. So an example of that is I have a sub agent that does playwright automation. So when I had my Claude, I had a command that would be like test all the changes that it's really click through the together test plan and then the test through the web app. Actually, my sub agent because the information, communication back and forth between playwright, which is what I something that I used to do. It's a lot of information that backs back and forth. It's taking screenshots, and then it's evaluating the screenshots, and it's looking at like the error logs or whatever. And that's just a lot of context that's building up in the session. So I use a separate segment for that just because it has its own context. So it's going to fill its memory with all this stuff, but then it's just going to give a concise summary back to the main Claude process that's really my command. So that's not how we use it on sub agents because I don't want them to fill up my entire Claude session.
So you feel like the context separate. So like you try to test security areas, those things for your problem thing. You think that
yeah. And if it doesn't match what it's supposed to match, I mean a summary back, what's wrong, and be a very concise summary of the issue. But that way the main process doesn't have to really have really much information in its context, if that makes sense.
So it's like very
yeah, by default, they don't start with no context. You have to pass it the context. And that's the trickiest part is like trying to get the information it needs to solve the problem you want to solve. So that one thing I think is it does get a little tricky, like to make sure it has, you have to pass, this is getting into the weeds, but like you have to pass it the right context for it to do what it needs to do. And that can get a little tricky to get it right. But once you do, now it could go out and do 1,000 different things and just fill up a ton of context. And it just gives you your answer back. And your main Claude process has just now consumed a little bit of context. In subagents, there is here, I'll go back here. Specifically, I've shortened this description here, but this description front matter parameter is basically defining its API to the callers. So the actual description on this one was pretty long, and it basically says, here's how you call this, here's what information you provide for the subagent to work effectively and whatever. And what's cool is if you go into Claude Code, there's a, here. And Claude knows how to do that. So if you create any custom command and you say call this agent, it knows to say, all right, well, let me look at the agent. What information is expecting? Okay, great. Let me pass the right information to it. It just magically happens. Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, let me
Yeah, let me show. I mean, here, let me hop in here. So,
Actually set that whole orchestration of Claude Code does allow them to do.
yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And what you specify, here's an example of an actual description. And you can see like up here, that description's super long. And it's basically like, here's ways to communicate with me as a sub-agent. It's giving examples and it's basically giving you an API specification for how do you talk to this sub-agent. And just once you then drop this file into this agents folder, it is now available for Claude or any commands or anything to call and use as an agent. Sorry, say that again. Yeah, it's just the fact that you drop it in the .claude/agents folder. It is now an agent available for you to call from within Claude Code or for Claude to decide to call. And a lot of times, and it'll oftentimes just use these. It'll just be like, hey, I need to solve this problem. Oh, there's an agent that searches context 7 docs. It searches for technical docs. So I'm going to go ahead and use that agent to get the docs I need. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Go ahead.
Also, agents, consider using Cloud. And then LLMs, right? Well, as some agents.
Yeah, you could. I mean, it also supports. I use MCPs all the time, like Playwright's an MCP that I use for browsing the web or whatever. Like you could use MCPs just like anything else. So I would assume that if you wanted to connect with some external tooling, you just use an MCP for that.
Such as like LangChain's SWE, if you wanted to have like a library specific return back of what's most important.
Yeah, that's right. You could use an MCP to connect to those LangChain agents that you were talking about. Yeah.
So here you have the name, pretty self-explanatory, description, and self-explanatory.
Yeah.
But the rest that you have, what is that?
This is just the prompt. So this is just like defining any other prompt for like, here is the definition of your agent identity, and here's how you do your job. So it's just prompt engineering, really. I mean,
And the difference from MCPs is just only has prompts, and MCPs have tools.
yeah, an MCP you're gonna have some really specific API specification, or the specification of how you interact with it, and and this is just something that runs within Claude Code inside of the environment. So like if you want to set, I think the best way to learn about it here is come into Claude Code and type agents, and then it'll say, hey, here are your agents. You want to create a new agent here? Where do you want to do it? I want to put it in my project. You want Claude to generate it. And then you just say generate with Claude. You give it a description of the agent you want to create, and it'll generate one for you with the appropriate description and everything else. And then just start using it. Like that's I think the best way to learn about them. And I find that usually what it creates is pretty verbose, and I go in and just make it a lot more concise because I like to carefully craft what I have my agents doing. But
How do you keep track? If you have too many agents, things don't get confused.
yeah, I don't think they've really solved. It's a very new thing. They haven't solved it well. I know with commands, like you can namespace the commands, like custom commands, by putting them in these folders. So I have a PM folder for all my product management commands. So I can go PM, and so you can namespace them. So I have like a, create PRD PM command, which I'll show here in a second. They don't do that for agents yet.
Code organization?
It's just code organization and just keeping them, and also like if I hit slash and there's like 250 things show up and I'm like, which one did I call that again? Like what is that? And I could just be like, oh, /PM, and it'll give me the namespace of all of
But
it.
it's not for his question was about that problem where you have like 20 tools.
Oh yeah.
All can figure out what.
Oh, got it. Yeah, you're talking about it's getting confused. Yeah, I don't actually know how it registers these agents. So I don't have the answer to that.
Like you have agent 1, then you give a description.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to agent 20, descriptions kind of get fuzzy, like they're similar.
Yeah.
How do you track that you have agents to that?
You mean, so for Claude, well, for me, for my usage, I just call the agents by name, but for Claude, I don't know how it handles that. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it has the same problem that like it has with MCPs where you get too many of them. It's probably the same problem, I would guess. So I guess, which is a good point. You probably want to only create ones that you know you need, right? And not just go willy-nilly and create a million of them.
Test aware of all your custom commands if it's sub-agent so that it can breaks up the project in masses and nodes. reference your workflow. Parts and actually, is that?
Let me come back to that because I'll just do a real quick walkthrough of the workflow and then I'll get to that question when I get to it. So let's see. What the heck? All right, here we go. So basically, when I'm trying to sync, all I'm trying to do is sync context and give Claude as much, of an understanding of what I want, which is what is in my brain, and then what is in the code base, so it knows how to build the right thing. That's what all of this is about. It's really just like we were saying. It's just about it can take a million different paths. So I try to eliminate on the front end. It's like even for something as simple as provide the ability to delete posts, there are so many decisions you can make. Like, do you do a soft delete? Do you allow undo? Do you need confirmation? Whatever. And so I think of it like there is a massive graph of possible ways to implement this thing. And so the more I can do on the front end to be specific about it, to narrow that down and cut off all the wrong paths, I can keep it on track better. And then the second thing I do is getting into Taskmaster, and I'll show it here in a moment, but then I try to once I've defined what I want to build really well using my commands, then I'll use Taskmaster to break it down into small pieces. And I'll show that here in a moment. So let me first start, the first thing I do is to try to give Claude, I have what is it? It is, come over here to my notes. Oh yeah, build context. Okay, so I have a build context command. And I'll say learn the front end and back end. All right, so I have a custom command that is attempting to solve this problem. So this is the first thing I usually do is just get Claude up to speed on the part of my code base that I'm about to work on. So it has in its memory, in its immediate memory, it's got in its context a familiarity with the specific parts of the app that it's going to go start editing. So it knows how to make the changes. I do a few things for this. What I'm showing right now is a custom command called build context that's running here, and it's looking at the task. It's going to go through the code base, and it's just basically just exploring and learning about what it needs to learn. I have other things I do for that, but I'm not going to get into them right now. And then, so that's the first thing I do. And by the way, I have a bunch of tools I use, and I'll use them depending on the situation. I have a tool, I'm not going to show it here because I don't have time, but that will go into my linear ticket. Here, let me open up. We'll do this ticket. So I have a tool then this is all about getting very specific about what I want Claude to build. I can run a custom command to say, refine this linear ticket, and it'll read it. It understands the code base, and then it'll interview me, and it'll ask me questions for this, for these tags that we're going to add to prompts, do you want to have a character limit on them? Do you want to allow special characters like Unicode characters? Do you want the user to be able to one-click delete them? How do you? So it's going to ask me clarifying questions and then fill out my requirements so that now I'm sort of narrowing the region of darkness and really honing it in on what I want it to build. So sometimes I'll use that. I have another one that would be way too time-consuming to run right now, but I've sometimes if I'm trying to build something new, but I really don't know how I want it built or how there's different technical paths you could take. I'll use this architecture recommendation, which is a command. It's a custom command, and it'll spin up multiple architects, software architects that will explore different ways of solving this problem technically. They will each give back their recommendation to the main command, and it's going to review the recommendations from its fleet of sub-agents that have spun off. It's going to look at what they each recommended. It will come up with its own recommended solution, and then it just explain it all to me and show me. It's hey, here are the options I looked at. Here's what I think we should do. What should you do? And then I'll take a look at those recommendations and be yeah, it looks great, and it'll update the ticket. Or I'll be no, I actually don't like that. Here, come up, change this and this and this, and I'll give it feedback, and we'll just work together. So what I'm doing is I'm getting these sub-agents to interview me or work with me or give me suggestions, and it's a collaborative thing that I've set up so that I can very quickly go through the product requirements or software architecture part of the process. And again, everything I'm trying to do is just get as much clarity on the front end so that when I unleash Claude Code to be go to town on this feature, we're on the same page as much as possible by the time it does that. And then I'll do here, let me come back, generate PRD, which I'll go ahead and generate it. This is my ticket. I've got this really simple little app here. Let me see if I have it up and running. It's a little prompt management tool I put together yesterday for the purposes of demonstration. It's just a dumb little tool. And I have a feature, which is I want to add tags to be able to these prompts. So this is a list of prompts with descriptions, and I want to be able to add tags to them. So I have so now it's up to speed. The last command I ran was build context. So now it's up to speed on my code base. And then I'll go PRD, create PRD, and then I'll pass in the linear ticket number. What is this? DRI 166. Okay, so now what it's going to do, so there's another command I use. So now it's up to speed on my code base, and now I'm saying, okay, now give me a plan for this particular ticket, and it's going to use MCP to like go fetch the details from linear, and again, this could be Jira or GitHub issues or anything else. It's going to identify, and this is part of that Q&A, like if there's anything that's ambiguous, like it could, or anything that's unclear about the solution, it's going to then ask me questions. Oh yeah, I can move this. By the way, if you can't hide that, I'll move the bottom up so it's not covered. Are you good? And then it will ask me targeted questions if there's information that is missing. And again, this is part of that conversational thing. So like it's done a gap analysis and it's like, hey, here's what's clear to me. Here's what's not clear to me. Will you answer these questions? And it's got 3 of them for me. And I'll just come up with stupid answers here. Like, should tags be displayed? Yes. For tag component. Individual entry, and then no validation. Anyway, all right, so I just answered its questions to clarify my requirements, and then it's going to go create a product requirements document for me. So now it's like we've gone through, you know, and I could use any of these tools by this point, and it's going to go ahead and create this. Let me flip over to my IDE, and there will now be in my, where is it here? In my docs folder, PRDs. And so it'll take a second here. Okay, so it may run for a second. So I'll come back to the workflow. So it's generating the PRD right now. And then after that, once I have my PRD generated, then I'm going to go in and generate taskmaster tasks. Now, just as while it's generating the PRD, the quick intro to taskmaster for anybody who hasn't used it, like I know a lot of people who have different solutions for this. So it's just one way to solve this problem. But what it does is it takes the product requirements for a feature, and then it breaks it down into a set of discrete tasks. And in the latest release, it's aware of your code base. So like they've just updated it. So it'll actually go scour your code base, learn about your code base as well. So you've already got your Claude agent that knows about your code base, and then your taskmaster is going to look at the requirements, which should already be defined within the context of your code base. Like you should be the right solution. Go ahead. Oh, it does not use the agents. It's just a third-party package, so it uses its own set of LLM calls and its own prompts, and it's its own toolkit to do that. But you could set up your own, if you wanted to do one that uses your agents, you could set up your own custom commands to replace taskmaster. And like, because I know some people in the group, they do this, but they just create a checklist and they don't use taskmaster. They break it down into a checklist and.
Have feature and I have and sub-agent.
Yeah. Yeah, you could totally do that. I don't do that because I just once I get the tasks already dialed in, I just let Claude just go implement them. And I just use raw Claude code, you know, just say, go build these tasks. And it just edits my code just like it normally would. So, but you could absolutely have it do that. Yeah. How about you?
Could you explain a bit more? So I see one place you use VS Code, and that's where your project source is.
Ah, yes.
You using Warp.
Yeah.
Claude Code. So why not use terminal with VS Code if you have all in one plot?
Yeah, so I could throw Claude up here once it loads. Yeah, I actually was doing this before. So this is kind of the way I think a lot of people use it, just in the VS Code terminal. I just like Warp. This works great too. So yeah. There's no other than I just like the UX and I like being able to do things. I've learned to do things quickly in Warp. Okay.
Curious. Cost optimization taking a lot of time to make all the calculations, actually, all the docs, whatever, right? Like, how do you think about it? Like, does this cost a lot? Or how do you think about it?
You mean in terms of credits or my time? Oh, That is a excellent question. And I am on the Claude Max plan, the Claude Code Max plan, which I'm paying $200 a month, but it gives you virtually unlimited credits. Yeah, and I should have clarified that on the front end. Yes.
You'll find the limits.
Yeah. What's that? No, I haven't. I just no, I haven't. I stopped. If I hit my, it's like you don't get unlimited credits, you get a lot, and then they do it in 5-hour chunks. So if I run out, like it resets every 5 hours. There's also a weekly limit, but I haven't hit that yet because but like yeah, like if I hit my limit before the 5-hour chunk is up, which has happened a couple of times, I'm like, all right, I should probably take a break anyway because I'm clearly.
That's in the race right now. Is that already coming after the change limits?
Yeah, it is after the change limits. I haven't hit the
You're
limits.
doing it the right way. When this first came out, I was just testing it out and I left it alone, went to lunch, came back and it was like $12 later. I
Yeah,
was like, hold up.
yeah, I'm so glad you asked that question. Make sure you're on a plan. You're not paying by the question because everything I'm doing here is very token heavy.
I know, like I was heads down for a little bit, and the CC usage NPM is really handy because you can actually see what it would be equivalent if you're paying for APIs. And my CC usage was like almost $4,000 a month, and I was paid the $200 for the 20x plan. I was using Opus a little too much, but
Oh wait.
it was cool. Like it was worth that $200.
Yeah, here's my.
It made it drop my API usage down from like, I think I was like 1,200 the month before.
When you run CC usage, how far is it looking back? Is it like a month?
30 days.
30 days. Yeah. So I've spent $2,500 worth of credits, but I've only paid $200 for my monthly subscription.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Great.
yeah, they're subsidizing it like crazy. I don't know. So they're using.
By Claude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Claude.
Well, right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, exactly. The big caveat to everything here is it assumes you have credits on a plan and you're not going to get blown out by actually having to pay those fees. Let me try to. Sorry, one sec. What's your question?
On your agents and your workflow, kind of go back to that for a second. I've been using a very similar kind of methodology, or I was for a little while before I pivoted. And one of the reasons I kind of avoided it or moved away from it is because no matter how granular I got, no matter much I decomposed, I would find that after a time, I would go back and have my QA agent go back and do a comprehensive review of all my code. And he would find out that even though I was using a micro-step approach, having an architect build it, having the specific developer develop it, having a QA agent check it.
Yeah.
What I was finding out was the developer was actually stubbing everything and the QA agent was just rubber stamping.
Yeah.
So we had to get into more complicated hooks and workflow to around that, but it still was an issue.
Yeah. So the question is like, or the experience you shared is that like you tried using an agent, like a developer agent and then a QA agent and then an architect agent and just have them all collaborate. I don't use that approach when it comes to actually building the code. I just let Claude do it all and using this approach. So I use agents for like the playwright, like.
What about within Claude? This is all Claude agents I'm talking about.
Yeah. But I'm just like, when I go say, well, I'm not quite there yet in my demo, but when I just say, go do the next task, it's just Claude doing the work. So I'm using these sub agents for like planning and other things, but then when it's actually writing the code, it's not kicking off the work with the sub
I got
agents.
away from that because he was stubbing everything.
It was stubbing. Okay, so that didn't work well. So your experience is trying to use the sub agents to actually write the code and
My experience
did not work well.
more than he does anything.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's good. Good feedback. Yeah. So, sorry, you had a question? You're good? Okay, cool. All right, so I've generated the PRD. Let me just flip back over to here. And where is it? Here. So it's created a PRD, and I'll usually scan through this and look and make sure I agree with it. The main thing I typically look for is, I find that oftentimes I look for like scope creep or anything else like that, and then I look to see. I always have it spit out milestones, at least in my workflow. And I make sure that those make sense. Like I like it to build something basic that I can test, so I can then verify it. and then something, and then the next milestone adds on to it. So I'll review that. But anyway, let's pretend I look through it and it looks good. Then I have my taskmaster, generate taskmaster tasks, and then it's going to go find the most recent PRD, and it's going to start creating these tasks. And let's see here. In fact, let me tell it, it's going to try to do generate tasks with taskmaster. It's analyzing the PRD. So it's going through this process of generating the tasks for me. And I can also, taskmaster, the way it works, let me flip over to a command line. I can also just do it through the command line, like tm list task. It is a terminal program by, it's a native terminal program. So you can look, I don't have any tasks listed here, but you can just say, show me this task or generate tasks from PRD, and you can do it all from the command line. I just have my agent do it just because it'll do a full workflow for me. So it's currently going through and generating or about to generate the task with taskmaster for me. And once it's done, I'll stop this. I won't let it. It can also, like, what's kind of neat about taskmaster is it's smart about doing things in the right order where they build on each other, the tasks build on each other. And then it'll also, if you have a complex task, it'll break it down into subtasks. Again, to try to get it down into like the micro, smaller tasks that it can go work on. So let's see if this finishes up here. Then I'll just have it start working on one feature. I won't make y'all sit through a coding session. Yeah, the way it works is taskmaster specifically, it's just a package, and it creates tasks in a JSON. So it's just sitting in your project. There's no database, there's no like SaaS offering or anything like that. It's just, it works on the local file system, which is nice because LLMs understand files. And I usually interface with it use an MCP, but you can also use the command line interface to interface with it. And you basically just call commands on it. Like parse PRD is a taskmaster command, which will read in the PRD, and it will do a bunch of work, and it'll research a code base, and then it will spit out the tasks that it thinks that make sense. And hopefully this finishes up soon. Let me flip. Oh.
Itself as a Claude MD.
No, it's just a separate package that you call through an MCP. Yeah, and you just have to point it to your PRD, to your product requirements doc, and then it'll read that, and then just kind of explore your code base a bit. I don't know, maybe it's using Claude MD and referencing those.
When you open up Claude MD.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I don't think Taskmaster is necessarily using Claude MD, but this Claude MD is provided by Taskmaster so that your Claude knows how to use Taskmaster. Yeah, but I've set it up different ways where this is actually kind of redundant because I have it set up as an MCP, so I could probably just delete it and just use the MCP definition. All right, so let's see here. All right, this is taking a very long time. I don't know why. Usually it's usually pretty fast. Let me move on. I'll just walk through the rest of the workflow because I think we're over time. What I do is once I have these smaller tasks, then I just use Claude to test or to, do the normal stuff you would do, right? And then I like to do the code review in the Git window, or in the Git interface here. So as it's, spinning up changes, as it's writing code, I'll just review the changes as they come in. Once I like them, it's just a normal, one thing I do too is between each task, I'll stage the changes. So I get wait, why is this not showing up there? Okay, this was updating a little slow. Anyway, so then I'll stage my changes and review them. Then I'd say the last couple of things that I'll just mention is I do have, some custom commands, like there's a code review command that'll look for like code complexity, duplication, readability issues, maintainability issues, those sorts of things. And it does a very good job of highlighting, just giving me a to-do list of things, and I can decide what I want to clean up. There's another one, like, I'll see if I can, while Taskmaster is trying to run here, let me open up another. Here's a little thing that I just discovered in the last week or two. This is getting into the like Claude Code nerd weeds a moment, but you can fork a context, right? So like if you've built up, it's all about context. So if you've built up a very good context in your Claude Code instance where it knows about the part of the code base that really matters. It's up to speed on everything it needs to know to do this feature. I can then copy the session ID. I've got like a custom status thing down there. So every instance has a session ID, and I can come in here into a new window and say Claude -- resume and paste in the session ID. And it's going to, this is a new Claude instance, but it's picked up the conversation where that other one is. So you've basically forked the conversation. So now I can go do something else. And if I wanted to, let's see, test recent changes, if I wanted to like just spin up another task on the same context, you can do it that way. So there's some, cool tricks like that you can do. And what this one does, this test recent changes, this is the one. And again, if it's, hold on. Let me do this. Another thing is, I don't know if you guys use the double escape, but you can always go back to previous, previous steps of the process. And so and then if you want to if you spend a lot of time working on something, you can go back to a previous step of your state so that you have way less context consumed.
Oh,
yeah.
Is it a checkpoint, like a cursor, where you go back to your previous, undo everything that you've just done?
It does not change any of the code. All you're doing is you're going back to context. Yes.
oh,
So what I'll do a lot of times is I'll build up the context for this part of the code I'm working on, and then I'll do some changes. And then I'll say, all right, summarize the changes that you did. And it'll give me like a little text blurb. And I'll reverse back and then paste it in and be like, just add a little bit to it. And then you can build up the context once and then just work forever without hitting your context limits.
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
So this like harness that you have, all of the files that you have for both the agents and subtasks, how often do you see yourself iterating? I mean, are you going back every day every way and trying to continually or?
Yeah. No, I'm probably tweaking them a couple times a week. It's pretty much if I run into something where it's this is going to be manual, or I'm going to have to manually figure all this, and then I'll be like, okay, let me take 20 minutes and tweak the prompt, or I'm always fine tuning them. So it's very much a work in process.
Share your command. Just want to know
Yeah, let me show it. And I'd be happy to, I don't have it in a format that's easy to share, but I'd be happy to put it in, clean it up and put it in the LangChain GitHub. But let me just show you real quick. Yeah, I have two code reviews commands. This one, this one specifically is the lightweight one, and it's looking for things like unused code, overly complex code, like overly nested structures, long functions that should be split, code duplication, because I want dry code, unclear naming, missing type hints, things like that. And then I have another one that's a major code review that I'll only run every once in a while, but it's doing looking at security, performance impacts, integration points, and it spins up, multiple subagents, and it's like a beast of a thing. But I only do that, every once in a while, because it's more of.
How come you keep in code review to the project? I don't do code review differently from project to project.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't actually have I would love to learn better ways of managing this, but what I actually do, all of these, if you'll notice the little arrow there, these are actually all symlink directories.
Okay, symlink them to your home directory.
Yeah, yes, essentially, yeah. And the only reason I'm using, because you could also put them in your home directory .claude.
Yeah.
There. Yeah. Yeah.
Have my user config, have my code review. We back. I do it once, we tweak them over.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to switch back to that. Initially, I tried doing that, and I was referencing files within my project. So I just put them in the project because they were the commands were referencing files in the project. But I think I've cleaned that up. So I think what you described is a better way if you want shared universal commands. What you're describing is you could put these commands in your project itself, but you can also put them in ~/.claude in your home directory .claude, and then they're available to all your Claude instances, to all your projects. So
that's a matter if you're working with a team as well.
Yeah, that's the other factor.
Team decide the syntax or.
Yeah, but then I'll put it in submodule. Get submodule.
Yeah.
So this is a shared thing for the team, for the project.
One of the other things you can do is create dev containers, and in the post create, in the startup and in the bootstraps, you can have all of those files automatically generated right into your container for you. So no matter what you're using, when you fire up that container, all of those files are already there and set up. And if you need to change them, then you just change your dev container. And it'll also give you process isolation and not let Claude run rampant on the laptop too.
So this is just the last thing, and then I'll wrap it up. But one of the things I'll do, like if I have to do a bunch of front end changes, is I'll be like, hey, I've got this command that'll be like, hey, look at all the recent changes you made, put together a test plan, and then go test it in the UI and make sure it works. And you can see it's using a sub-agent. The reason I'm using a Playwright sub-agent is because for context preservation. That's the example I was talking about earlier, where it'll consume its own context. And oh, by the way, there's this new thing. They see that insight right there? They just added a new thing to Claude Code where you can have it like give you insights or teach you things they just added that today. Yeah. The learn. Yeah, there's like a learn mode. It'll teach you and give you assignments. So it can teach you. Anyway, that's total aside.
Love it.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think that's it. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Are we way beyond time, or
We're great on time, man.
we're good on time?
Yeah.
I can take more.
We're great. We had like 15 minutes before we can get out.
All right, we're good then. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Saw something, a lot of text one, sure, right, but that's something you're using like no tools or like yeah, allowed tools. What's that? Is that like the guardrail? Is that a like,
Yeah.
how do you know it's listed? Is there like a list of tools you can use? Because I know simple stuff like rewrite. I'm just those one as well.
Yeah, there is. I think they have it documented, but also whenever you're going through Claude and you're approving commands and you say like, I want to approve you to do this every single time, it'll throw something in your settings.json and you can see like how they name it, like web fetch is one right there where, and those are tools. I think they do have it in their document. So you could go look at their tools and everything else. It can sometimes be kind of tricky to figure out exactly what to call them, but for the agents, yeah, it's just, oh, and when you're going through the agent workflow and you have it built, actually, this is a good way to go play with it and figure it out is when you tell it to make an agent for you, like I was showing earlier, it'll ask you what tools do you want to enable. And it'll give you categories of tools and you just select the categories and it'll drop them in there. That's probably the easiest way.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Nate. Like, let's switch over to my laptop. This is really a great example. Yeah, there we go. This is a really great example of what we do here at Awesome LangChain AI Middleware User Group, right? So thank you so much. You've up-leveled my Claude workflow, like my hack foo. Like I really, really appreciate it. And for those of you that haven't presented yet, I would encourage you. This is maybe yours.
Yeah, that's fine.
I would encourage you to like get up here and try show off some new code, right? We're all really welcoming group. We're all learning from each other, and the feedback that I got talking to some of the smartest investment bankers in the world this last week and up at KeyBank Capital Markets Conference up at Deer Valley is that what we're doing here, we're ahead of what most people are doing. So on that note, I'll remind you, everyone here, our next event, August 27th, it's going to be a hacky hour at Cosmic Saltillo, 6 to 8 p.m. You can bring your laptop and hack. You want to sit and socialize, that's cool too. I'll usually have my laptop out for the first part of it, and then as people know, I end up talking to everyone. I always have some sort of thing. I'll probably be hacking on my ATA stuff. I'm going to implement some more sub agents. Just took a look at Profound. Holy smokes, we could totally rip off everything they're doing and do it as a community, right? They got $58 million in funding, right? And this dumb Marine, crayon-eating Marine implemented half of what they're doing. So HUA plus OTel, and maybe some what? Oh yeah, exactly. And just need to have some way of tracking search position, right? But that's the whole point. We're in this great revolution right now where all of us are being empowered with superpowers, right? Every single one of us has an expert level developer at our fingertips. Yeah, we have to learn how to use it. We have to learn how to talk to it. All of us have access to the LangChain and LangGraph community, right? Which is a bunch of open source code led by a really, really cool nerd, Harrison, supported by really, really great nerds like you and I, right? And if you look at what's happening here, we're just accelerating that flywheel. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and buttons work. Okay. Oh, no, back one. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up. We're going to pull up this mess of cables. We're going to go right around the corner, down the street to the tavern. And if you want to continue the conversation over a cold drink, you have great hot wings or whatnot, please join us there. If not, see you at Saltillo, or we'll see you, I think September 14th is our next meeting here. Thank you very much.
Utah play.
I'm an expert advisor for KeyBank's Mosaic team.
Okay.
So yeah, it's KeyBank Capital Markets. Let me get off mic here. Thanks everyone online. Appreciate the help and the feedback about the audio. And we'll see you all on Discord later.